Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to the Casting Kickstart Part 12. So yesterday was New Year's Day, so I decided to take a day off, and I went and jumped in the lake. If you don't believe me, go look at LinkedIn. It wasn't too bad. It was minus 12 or 13 or 15, but that's not the point. There was no wind. So that's the killer difference. If there's wind, you're going to freeze. Real quick and real heavy. If there's no wind and the sun's out, you're going to freeze, but it's going to take a bit more time. So the main thing is to jump in, swim around for a little bit, and then get out and then warm up. If you stick around too long, it'll be like enabling the VM freeze, the last one we did in part 11. That didn't happen, and I'm back. So what am I going to talk about today? Well, we've been going through all the different parts of Kasten so far, but there's one thing that we should probably at this point talk about, and that's if you get into trouble or if you have issues or what to do. So let's have a brief little talk, Casting Kickstart, about what we do when we're in trouble. So first of all, let's take a look here. This is if you're using Community Edition. So if you're using the free version of Kasten, you can still get support. You used to have to go here in the Veeam Community Hub to the Veeam Kasten Kubernetes Data Protection Support. Okay, and you can ask questions. It's not paid support, so you won't get any kind of SLA answers real quick. However, they're pretty good about answering within a decent time space, and also there are people in the community who can also offer up suggestions. I once in a while do. It depends on whether I think I know what the problem is or not. But eventually, people from Veeam Kasten will answer. So this is the place you can go if you have a license. If you have you've got a paid version of Kasten, there is a way to go through Veeam support for that, obviously, and that's what your first choice should be. But keep in mind, this is very good, and anything that's a Kasten issue, you really should ask here, not even the Kubernetes Corner, because there are people watching the Kubernetes Corner, but this is where the Kasten folks also hang out and watch for protection, data protection support issues with Kasten. Okay, but what do you do if you run into problems? So let's go and take a look around in Kasten where we can see what we can do. So if you go to settings here on the left-hand side, this is the settings, okay? You'll see that, let's go to settings. You'll see there's system information. Okay, so that's good right off the bat because support might ask you, what are you running, etc. Cluster status is important, and you can just right-click that and see the status. So I've got no status issues. If I had status issues, I could copy the status data to the clipboard and then send it off to support. But I have none, thank goodness, so I'm happy. User details, why not? So this can give you all sorts of information about your user. Maybe you don't have rights for something and something's not working. An example, if you've just enabled or installed Kasten and you've got kubevirt running, but you did not add the permissions to your service account or whatever method you're using to authenticate in, and so you can't see the virtual machines. Well, that's something you can see from that. Now, what does support always ask for? Be it Veeam, be it Kasten, be it anything, logs. And Kasten have a very convenient location here where you can download your logs. It's also in system information, and you press it, and then it will start off and in the background be downloading. So we'll wait for that download. Other than that, there's other information here which will tell you what Kasten version you're on, which is very important. So there it is, already done. It's a zip, so they zipped everything up for you. So very, very simple. We'll just save that here, and then I can go and take a peek at it if I want. But there they are, right? Okay, alrighty. So close that, simple enough. But some interesting information here about upgrade status. So if a new version comes out, and this is also linked to support because you might be looking for some new feature and it's not there. Well, guess what? You didn't upgrade. So here's the upgrade information. I'm on the latest, right? We're still waiting for 8.5. That's the one we're all excited about. But to upgrade, you need to have catalog storage available. Okay, now I've got 99 free space percent because this is my test setup, whatever. But it's something you have to watch. On one setup I had, I was really going a bit crazy and added a lot, and I didn't have enough catalog storage, so I had to fiddle with that. The garbage collector, okay? Every hour, 6 hours it runs. We'll talk about it at the future point, but they've got documentation here about the garbage collector. It's basically collecting garbage, right? So Veeam Kasten provides a way to collect and clean up resources that are either orphaned or their expiration period has paused, okay? Passed, not paused, passed. We'll go into that maybe later, but it's pretty self-evident what it is. It also shows you your storage classes, since that is so important, for Kasten. So there you have it. Also, though, keep in mind in the settings, you got your licenses. Now, this is very important as well. What am I using right now? I'm using the starter license. Again, it's a 5-node limit, but this is my test, one single node. There's a 500 node limit here for a trial starter license. But you might have license issues if you're doing something. You can also create a new license here. You have to load a file. That's pretty well known. Same thing you do in Veeam, you load a file. Registrations. Okay, well, what are registrations? Well, I actually pressed this and tried to log in. That's why it's annoyed. This is the Veeam Vault. Okay, so I was being silly. I don't have Veeam Vault, but it came up with a login. I thought, hey, I'll put it in. Maybe they've given me Veeam Vault. I don't know about it. Well, they haven't, because it can't connect. And now it's kind of unhappy. So that's fine. Passkey information. Okay, so we'll talk about that in the future. Kasten DR is the next parts in here as well. So that is it. Now, if you need information about your Kasten setup, which is also kind of linked to support, because maybe there's something wrong, you need more information, you can go to usage and reports, data usage. So this is a nice little screen. You can download a CSV of this. It's really cool for all these pieces of information: exported storage, snapshot storage, export storage by application. So this is quite cool. And then you have reports as well. Now, I haven't turned it on, but I will turn it on, and this will create auto-generated reports. So every day, I believe it's every day, I'll get an auto-generated report. Here's the default. So daily, it runs like a policy, basically. And I can retain them all, or I can retain a certain number and then get rid of them. I don't think they take much space. But also little things here. Advanced frequency. Look, you can do it by the hour. Maybe I want to report every hour. Maybe I don't. But still, if you want it, you can use it. So those are the major things, I would say, which you can leverage when you go to support. And very simple. You send off your request, your information, they come back to you. Now, as I said before, there's also a link to documentation here, right? For reports. Look at that. So you press that, it's going to take you right to the reporting part. Isn't that cool? So I think that's like in every part of Kasten now. So let's move somewhere else. Let's go to policies and docs. And look at that. It takes you right to the policies location. So actually, I didn't know that. That's something I just learned today. Let's try it with something else. This is fun. So transform sets, which is something we're going to talk about in the future one. Let's see if they've got something. Yes, right? So that is really cool. So this is something I want to underline because it's something I learned today. What if you go to restore points? Yes, restoring application. So basically, no matter where you are in the dashboard, the little docs thing up here is not just taking you to the index where you have to go and search for hours for what you want. It's taking you right to the location, right to the exact location. So that is really cool. So because we're talking about system information, let's go here. Let's go to system information and press docs. Support and troubleshooting. Oh my goodness. Isn't that a great way to end this video? You just press that and you're right here. You don't have to listen to me. It's all here, getting help, contact support, which is actually on that page as well. Let's go back because I didn't mention that, did I? I don't remember seeing that. Where was that? Let's just go. I think it's over here. If you go to we got guided tour here. Wait, okay, let's go back to the documentation. 1 second. So admins running 4.5, 7 or later can get support logs, because we know that. And in the settings menu in the navigation sidebar. Okay. So I failed to mention that. Look, what a silly thing to miss. And but because I pressed on the documentation, I know that if I go to the settings here, it's somewhere there. Okay, so I go to settings. I was in settings. I don't remember seeing that. Let's just see. So I see that there. I don't see contact support. Interesting. So this might be a little bit of a disconnect. Okay, so here's in for getting help, right? So contact support. So this is in system information, right? System information, page under settings, menu in the navigation sidebar. Okay, let's look at that. And it's not there. So I'm going to write the Kasten support because the documentation is a little bit out of sync. This happens sometimes, not the end of the world. It's probably somewhere else lurking in there. Now, one thing I did also see in the support, which is important, is you can run this debug script, okay, which is pretty cool. So let's try that. This is from the command line, and it'll also give Kasten support some information. So let's do that. There's also the Kasten tools, We'll go into that a bit later because that's checking some other stuff. But I want to see this debug script in action. So let's just, what was I doing here? Oh, I was fooling around here with something else. Let's clear that and run the... Now, the other thing to remember too, if you're copying and pasting, is from the Kasten documentation, for some reason they keep the shell sign there, which is a bit of a nuisance. So you got to go there and remove that. And we'll run it, and off it goes. And it's going to then push all this into the K10 debug logs.txt. Okay, so pretty cool. I don't know how long that'll take, but it's basically getting all the logs from the namespace. So it's doing the same thing as, I think, pressing the button. Okay, that's enough for today. Remember, key information here is the system information part under the settings. Also, you can press dock anywhere here, download logs, and don't forget that you can contact Kasten support either through normal support channels if you have a paid license, or if you're just testing it, getting ready to install, you can go to the Kasten support location on the Veeam Community Hub. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year.